Hey guys, welcome back to the Tea Party Podcast. It's a podcast where you find new friends and new music. This week I'm joined by a North Carolina native who now calls the nation's capital home, and he just released his brand new single Pieces on October 23rd. I'm talking about Roger Dale. Roger, man, how are you?
Good, man. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Thanks for jumping on here with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Of course, man. And before we get too far into it, for everybody out there listening, we've partnered with our friends at Audible again for this episode to get everybody listening a free Audible trial. If you haven't heard of Audible before, it is the largest online collection of audiobooks anywhere. Plus, they've got things like guided wellness programs, theatrical performances, comedy, Audible originals. In fact, I just finished one of their Audible originals. It's called The 64th Man, starring John Cena, and really it was like watching TV with my eyes closed, which was really cool to hear. And if you want to check it out, that book or really any of the other ones, head over to audibletrial.com/teaparty. That's audibletrial.com/TEEPARTY for your free audiobook and 1-month subscription. But now let's tee it off with Roger Dale. And Roger, let's start by giving everybody kind of the Cliff Notes version of the Roger Dale story. What was it like growing up in North Carolina, and how'd you get into music?
Yeah, growing up in North Carolina, pretty awesome. I had a wholesome upbringing. Yeah, I grew up in the eastern part of North Carolina, Pembroke, Maxon area, Evans Crossroads in my community. I'm Native American. I'm part of the Lumbee tribe. We're the largest tribe east of the Mississippi, and I grew up predominantly in my tribal community from grade school through high school. I pretty much knew everybody. We graduated. My graduating class was 93% Native, and so very tight-knit community, very matriarch society. So I got into music because my mom really, my local church, Mount Hebron, she was over the youth choir, and we would go and I would watch her practice and during the week, and then on Sunday I would just listen to the choir, and I would just sing in the house, and eventually she encouraged me to sing from the church, and that's kind of where I was about 8 years old, and foundation was laid in, and I did music, pretty much singing, and I played trumpet. I was in band and chorus, did local theater and things like that, and I really didn't take it professionally because when I graduated, I went to college and I went to NC State, go Wolfpack, and I studied communications, and then decided I wanted to go to law school, and I went to North Carolina Central. It's also in North Carolina, go Eagles, in Durham, and I got into civil rights, and been doing that, and that's my area of law for the past 8 years, and I just wanted to have something that was more fulfilling outside the law, and I decided to go back and give music another shot. I'll give it a chance at least, and started taking vocal lessons, started writing, and here we are. I have 2 singles out, and I'm having another one coming out this month and another one next month, and hope to keep on going down, down this road. I'm enjoying this ride. It's awesome.
Well, and not everybody can see this right now, but you're actually in a North Carolina State Wolfpack sweatshirt. So definitely repping the Wolfpack here.
These my boys.
So, growing up in the kind of in a Native community, it's a little bit different than what we hear from a lot of country singers, because a lot of people assume that, wrongfully so, that country music is this real down-home, nitty-gritty, middle of America type of thing, but they don't really think about it when it comes to somebody like yourself who's grown up in a different community than them, we'll say. How did that shape what your sounds like and what you write about and that sort of thing?
Yeah, 100%. It totally correlates with my identity as a Native American, because part of our culture and part of our history is passed down through stories. We don't have much of a written history, I guess is what I could say about the Lumbee people, but we have stories that they're integral to our identity and our culture, and so. One of the parallels, I think, even as a child, before I realized this affinity I have with country music, I love listening to 90s country music because of the stories that the singers were telling. It wasn't just a simple breakup. It was a lead up to a parting of ways, because they had tried, but that it wasn't working. And for whatever reason, you get to the bridge and they're like, but we're fine. And I'm going to take you to the chorus and we're going to have a good time. And So I think for me now that I'm writing and I'm doing country music, and I've always loved it, you know, again, since I was a little boy, because my mom really would just drive me down on Saturday and Sunday. We would just go riding for her to clear her mind. And she would play Otis Redding, Percy Sledge, Conway Twitty, George Strait, Brooks and Dunn. That was my first concert, Brooks and Dunn. And that was what I grew up around, you know. And so it just, it was because of the upbringing, our community just being lovers of storytelling. And I think that's the reason why I'm so into country music. I always have been, you know what I mean? But I love all genres of music, but it's the one that my soul connects to. And that's how I write. So I'm very emotional when I write. I think about all the different stories that could come into the story that I'm telling. You know, what is this person's perspective? Will the vibe change if, you know, you put a guitar riff here? Things like that, you know, and I'm trying to explore more, that I'm kind of getting the chance to get my music out there, and people kind of like, what is this Roger Dale? What's he doing? So it's pretty cool.
Man, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I don't know that I've ever heard that explained as well as you did right there, but I mean, you really did. I mean, country music is about the story, and that's kind of what has what's kind of set it aside from other musical genres. Do you remember when it was that you actually started playing country music? You know, transition from the musical theater and the choir and the trumpet to actually playing country music?
Well, I mean, playing like in my own element most recently the past 2 years, but when I was younger, I was always dragging my mama to like the country fair to do talent shows, or my high school, I would do talent shows, and it was always a country song or a gospel song. Because again, I grew up on Southern gospel music, and again, it's a story of the relationship with Jesus. Sorry, let me turn that down. But yeah, so that relationship, and so I was performing country music back when I was in high school. You know, singing Garth Brooks, Rascal Flatts. But now, the past 2 years, I've been putting myself out there, being vulnerable, and just saying, hey, is there anybody who wants to listen to what I have to say and the sound I have? And the more that I put time into it and invest into it, like the more I'm starting to see my own growth. And it's just amazing, because that's all I just want to do is write and tell stories, and hopefully master this guitar one day.
Good luck with
that's my next big challenge, right? Yeah.
I heard somebody once say that you never really master the guitar, you just get good enough to not look bad at it. And like that has been my mantra.
I think I'm gonna take that on. I need to hear that, because I'm like, yeah.
So for anybody out there that hasn't heard you before, how would you describe your sound to them?
I would say my sound, you know, I'm country soul, so you would think a hybrid of Lionel Richie meets Kenny Rogers, fused with or sprinkled with a little Chris Stapleton. Like, that's how I would that's my voice and that's my style. And I like taking liberty with my voice. If I'm in a live performance, you know, I'll practice. But when I'm performing live, if I start feeling it, I'll just try to take the flair, because I like flares and I like doing runs. That's my thing. That's that soul side. I just love a riff or run or whatever, however you want to call it. Whatever technical terminology is, but yeah, when I feel it, I just go with it. And I think that's, you know, from the bluesy side that I feel country always has had at the foundation, you know, because when I feel it, I just I allow my emotions to take over. If I'm in a live performance or if I'm practicing, really, you know, sometimes I get caught up in like, oh wait, stop, I got to remember it's for the listener, not me. Stop being selfish. So yeah, that's my style. I'm just a fusion of just anything you could think that's soulful. That kind of is, yeah, that's who I am.
Well, and you've dropped a lot of names there. Is there anybody that you consider a musical influence more than others?
Yeah, like highly Chris Stapleton. He is one of my influences, you know. He's not my mentor in a literal sense, but in a spiritual way, the way I connect to some of his writing, his music, I feel like he's a mentor to me, because, you know, when I first discovered his music a few years ago, and I started working on that song Whiskey and You, and I perform it pretty much every show, because I'm like, yo, that's in my wheelhouse. When I first sang that song, I was so intimidated that I would not go past, like, I think the second verse. Like, I would get to the second chorus and I would stop after the second chorus. And then because there was that high note, and it just made me nervous. But now that I've been working and I hit it, and I'm like, dude, I know I could do it. I mean, you sing someone that big, you got to make sure you can do it before you put it out there to the world. So he's probably the one that influences me a great deal, but he challenges me continually. Even now, he put out a new song, and I'm like, yo, that's such an amazing story. And the way he sings, he sings with such conviction, and I feel like I do. And because I always want people to feel the story, because if I wrote a story and you're not feeling it, then it's in vain and it's pointless. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think I'm highly influenced by him because of that, and also the way he plays guitar. Because again, I want to play guitar well.
He is. Have you had a chance to see him live?
Man, I did last year. No, year before last in Maryland. It was beyond insane. I was so mesmerized the whole set for him. And his open acts were amazing too. But when he walked out, it was like I stopped in my tracks, and I was like, yeah, get me another beer, please. Yeah. Oh, I'm about to sing it out. It was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a chance to see him at a festival here, man, probably 3 years ago now, and it was like watching the country version of Santana. Some of the things that man can do with the guitar,
it's insane.
Unreal.
Man, it is. And then to couple it with the things that he can do with his voice, like the runs that he is able to hit, the runs he can hit, the runs that he can do and the notes that he can hit is insane. Playing the guitar the way he does simultaneously. Hold on a second.
There's something special about him.
Yeah. So he's really, really amazing. And so he highly influences me. And one day I want to sing with him. So that's another thing I put out there in the universe. You know what I mean? Because he's one of my idols. So
that might come up later in this. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But shifting back to what you do, what's your songwriting process look like? Are you one of those guys that's got a voice memo app that's full, or you got like a waterproof noteboard in your shower that you're taking notes on? A little bit of everything.
I was going to say a mixture of things. For me, I have a black book that because I'm old school, even when I was in law school, and instead of using a computer to do the exams, I was that one of 5 students out of 100 and some that would just sit there and write for 3 hours, because, I don't know, I just like thinking and writing go hand in hand for me. So a lot of my ideas, I always carry this little book with me, whether it's my work bag, even when I go to work out, if I go to yoga, something like that. I have this little black book, and then I also have my phone because I keep a crap ton of notes, and I have this little recorder. Because sometimes the lyrics and the melody come simultaneously, but I'm not working on it. They just come out of the air, and I'm like, wait a minute. This is a song I could do, man. Let me see if that's something. Oh, yeah. Okay. And then I'll just take 30 seconds and just record it. No matter how crappy it sounds to your mind, just put it out there. And I'll just let it marinate for a bit. And now, to like this past Saturday, I spent my whole day just writing songs, going back to these concepts that I haven't had time to get to because of my regular job. And I spent 8 hours just kind of finishing some up and came out with 5. About 17 were crap. You know how that goes, you know what I mean? And I'm like, well, I know these 5 are solid. So that's my process. And then there are sometimes, because I try to write a little something every day. And if I don't have the inspiration, or I feel like I'm tired from the main job, I'll do what I call a 5-word challenge, where I'll just think of the first 5 words that come to me, and I'll write them down, and I'll make myself create at least a verse using those 5 words. And to have something to come back to, if nothing, it may be just a line, not even a whole verse, but there may be something there, because I try to write every day. That's my approach, is like, just keep going. Sometimes it's crap, but then there are days you just can have that inspirational moment that just hits you like, ooh, I could do this and make it a little upbeat. It will not be as sad.
Well, and I think that's probably the best advice that I've heard doing this podcast is write a song every day. Even if it's terrible, at least you're getting something out there, and then the terrible song's out of your head when you actually have the inspiration to write a good song.
And you open up that passage for, that passageway where you allow those ideas or those moments where you feel that burst of energy, and you're like, because I have these moments where I'm writing a song and I know clearly it's not for me. I know it's going to be, one day someone's going to find it and I'm going to sell it to an artist and they're going to make it really big. But I know it's not a story that I can convey and do it justice, but I still write it. Because I'm doing it for the love of music and just a sheer determination of, I want to be a country singer. That's like, it's been my life dream. And now I have a chance to do it. I just write for the love of writing. And it is therapeutic for me. I think that's a lot of writers that, have been doing it for a while, that I've been following and researching, and, I read blogs, and they're saying sometimes you don't even feel like writing, but write just because you're getting, like you said, those thoughts out of the way that may be standing in the way of that one brilliant, that aha, oh, eureka, dude, that's amazing hook. And you can't do that if you are just sitting there, I'm tired, man. It's been a long day. I'm not even going to bother. And then when you try tomorrow and it becomes repetitive, when are you going to write? So I think that's the way I've disciplined myself, is to not allow it to become a cycle of making excuses. There are some days, again, I may write 3 or 4 lines, but I'll tell myself at least something is down, and pick up tomorrow and try again. And sometimes I do it on the weekend, but hey, I keep it every day, just keep rotating and moving it.
Well, and you've got a couple of songs that you shared with us here that I want to let everybody take a listen to. The first one is Struck Gold, which, again, came out of, I'm sure, one of your writing sessions there. Give us the story behind how this song came about and how you decided to release this one.
Yeah, so this is a song, Struck Gold. One of my close friends, he and I, we're writing partners. We basically collaborate. We write a lot together. He helped me with Tuck Away My Heart, which was my OG release, which was back in February. And I wrote it, and then he helped me with the musical composition. And so I said, hey, Adam, let's write together some. And we worked on a few other songs. Like, we wrote pieces together. And then we were doing that on a Saturday. And then he randomly sent me this whole entire chorus for what now is Struck Gold. And he said, I think I have something here. I just want you to sing it if you think it's great. And I went through and I read it. And so when I was reading through it, I'm like, dude, this would be perfect because it's upbeat, it's vibrant, it tells a story. And I just love, like, the feel it makes you have. Like, it had that vibe of, like, reminds you of your childhood, that first time you fell in love, falling out of love, or, making love work. And I was like, I wanted to be, because I have 5 songs from that project. And, Struck Gold was the one I wanted to come out first because it was such a good energy and it was vibrant. And I felt like, well, we've lost our summer because of this pandemic. And I didn't want to come out hitting them with pieces. Like, which one is the most vibrant? And Struck Gold was, man. Like, I was in the studio in the booth just recording it, doing just the vocals. And I was in there just moving a little bit. And I was like, yeah, this is the one. And that's how we got it out there. And Adam and I wrote pieces together. And my next one is called Carolina. I wrote that one by myself. But we write it together a lot. We have a lot of material. We've just been waiting on the moment to get it out there, really.
Nice. Well, here, let's let everybody take a listen to this first one. It's called Struck Gold by Roger Dale.
All right.
I never believed love could feel so real. Too many lost lovers had taken the wheel, until the day that you came into view. My heart felt something special and new. Your smile sent sunshine right into my heart. And now, oh darling, I'm catching Cupid's dart. You're like the first day of summer when you're 8 years old, like a blanket by the fire when it's freezing cold, like the best part of a story that you've never been told. Babe, you got me feeling like I just struck gold. We're still together after all this time. You've loved the armor of this heart of mine. Lord knows we've seen our share of ups and downs. It's never easy keeping love on the ground, but you're right beside me at the end of the day. And if you ask, I'm always gonna say you're like the first day of summer when you're 8 years old, like a blanket by the fire when it's freezing cold, like the best part of a story that you've never been told. Babe, you got me feeling like I just struck gold. You're like the first day of summer when you're 8 years old, like a blanket by the fire when it's freezing cold, like the best part of a story that you've never been told. Babe, you got me feeling like I just struck gold. You're like the first day of summer when you're 8 years old, like a blanket by the fire when it's freezing cold, like the best part of a story that you've never been told. Babe, you got me feeling like I just struck gold.
And that one, new music from today's guest, Roger Dale. It's called Struck Gold, and you talked about it. You released it in September. Obviously, we're right in the middle of a pandemic. How did all of that play into your decision, not just to release this song, but really, I mean, you kind of launched your career right at the beginning of this pandemic.
Yeah, man. And you know what's wild? I always jokingly say it to my mom and my brothers, and I'll say, man, I could not have scripted something like this. Like, this is wild, because I am all about making goals for the new year. I don't subscribe to New Year's resolutions because I hate cliches, but I'm all about a goal. And I said, I'm in 2020. This is way before I knew where we were going, but I said, I'm going to have my first single come out, and I'm going to have an EP or EP in the works. And I already had the songs picked out. I picked up a side job on the weekends and in the evening time doing some side work to save up. And I already had laid the foundation, and I had, you know, everything, the wheels were moving, and then COVID just slammed us. And I was stuck here in April saying, what am I going to do? I can't fly out to Nashville, and I can't go anywhere really to record. And now, you know, with airlines. And so I just started doing what I called Saturday singing sessions with Roger Dale. On Saturday, I would go live for 30 minutes around 2 o'clock and just perform my favorite covers, mainly, you know, a lot of Luke Combs. I love Luke. Chris Stapleton, Kane Brown, those boys. And then eventually I just started working some of my music. I'm like, hey, I have this song that's coming out, because I finally, Off the Road reached out, and they're like, hey, we're not doing much down here, but we love your sound. We love what you're doing. We'd love to do a very small COVID-friendly session and work on a few tracks that you can get your sound out. And I said, yeah, let's try it. And went down, and it was a success. And I just said, I'm going to go ahead and release these songs, because in 2021, I want a full EP. And I believe in just keep working through whatever times you're presented with, because again, I could not have predicted this was going to happen, but I did predict that I was going to have some singles to come out. So I didn't want to slow that down and just kind of let it fall to the wayside, because I just wanted to see it through, you know, because I have a vision for my music. And that's really why I just continued through it. And when my mama flew out to Nashville with me, we were very particular. She's a nurse. And so at every stop on the plane, even when we were in the recording sessions, you know, we were 6 feet apart, and, you know, yeah. And it just happened. Worked with a session band, and those guys just brought it to life. I straight up recorded it a cappella on the recorder, sent them that, and sent the lyrics. And from that, all these songs that are coming out, they made them. They just brought it to life. It's like magic. It was so amazing too, man. It was my first true session at the studio, by the way.
Nice. No, it seems to have worked out for you so far, man.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. And you know, it's a good feeling. Even through all this, it's helped me remain sane, because I'm stuck in, you know, of course, my house, and I don't go out much. And I work here, so it's hard to separate work from your personal life. But music has allowed me to find that way to just stop, turn off, and just transition into my music for the night and relax, or watch a movie to get inspired, or, you know, that's how I get in ideas for songs. I watch a movie or a show. And, so that's what I love. I think music was the right time. It came to my life at the right time, though right now it's the bad time for the country and the world. But for me, music has been my saving grace through this pandemic, truly.
I mean, having so many people stuck at home with nothing else to do but to consume content, be it music or social media or whatever. I mean, this, as bad as it looks on paper, might not have been the worst time in the world for you to launch your music career and get out there and put some music in front of people. But it sounds like you got some more stuff coming out in the rest of this year and then into next year, right? Yeah.
I have my next single is coming out the last week of this month. It's titled Carolina. It's really a lot about the story of me growing up in Carolina, falling in love, and going off and finding myself in college, and then coming back to country music and doing this now. So it's like a full circle song. And then I have another one coming out in December, Sinking Ships, and then one in January. It's a surprise one, so I can't say nothing about that one. But yeah, I have a lot in the works, and hopefully, definitely in 2021, my EP. I have some songs already picked out. I'm waiting to get some feedback and some critique, and hopefully start refining them and start making something special.
And so where can people follow you online? What's your website, your social media?
Yeah. So my website is rogerdaleofficial.com. So you can follow me there. All the links to my current songs are out. Working on updating my upcoming events, which is majority virtual shows that I'm doing. I'm doing my first ever music fest next Saturday. It's a virtual, so you can find out about that there. And then on Instagram at Roger Dale's Music, and same thing, Facebook, Roger Dale's Music. It's the primary places you can find me. And of course on Spotify and Apple.
Nice. Well, we've got one more song here for everybody before we let you go. This one came out just a couple of weeks ago. It's called Pieces. Give us the story behind how this song came about and what it's about.
Yeah, so the song came about, again, Adam, my co-writing buddy. We were having a writing session one Saturday night virtually. He lives in North Carolina and I live up here in the DC area. And we were just, if you have a songwriting session and you've been part of a co-writing, the first part is just hashing out stuff, how you been, man? How's your day? How's your week? Anything on your mind? And so we just started, talking, and we're just talking about how crappy, this was back in, I want to say, it was about April, how crappy the world had become, and we were stuck inside and can't even go out for a drink at a bar. You can't even go out to eat. And I just made this statement. We were talking about love and, broken relationships and being alone during these time periods. He said, man, I just feel broken. I said, yeah, shattered in pieces. And he said, let's write something. Just let it, the song's Pieces. And we started writing, and it took us about 2 or 3 hours because we're very particular. We both are about words. And so we said, let it sit overnight and we'll come back tomorrow. And we refined it. And that's what we did. And went and took it down to Nashville. And the guys said, yeah, let's do this one. And I wanted to be the second one because I thought it had a lot of meaning right now with everybody going through COVID and having to pick up pieces like with what's left behind, and your life might seem in shambles, but you're going to get through. That's what this song's all about to me, especially now. Back then it might have been about love, but now I'm just like, I'm going to be okay.
Well, here, let's get everybody inspired with it. It's called Pieces by Roger Dale.
Broken emotions scattered here on the floor. All my dreams shattered by slamming door. Thought you took it all when you walked away. Were those vows just lies on our wedding day? What once was whole is broken, that last goodbye unspoken. I'm left with these pieces of you and me, these fragments of what it used to be. Thinking love will never come again. I found the truth that was deep within. With you gone, I'll finally know what peace is. And I'll build my life again with just these pieces. Sweeping up the dirt you left without looking back. 'Cause you can't keep running if there's trash sitting on the track. See, all the king's horses and men couldn't fix what's wrong. But in time this healing heart's gonna move on. 'Cause I'm whole here on my own, now that the pain is gone. And I'm left with these pieces of you and me, these fragments of what it used to be. Thinking love will never come again. I found the truth that was deep within. With you gone, I'll finally know what peace is. And I'll build my life again with just these pieces. And I'm left with these pieces of you and me, these fragments of what it used to be. Thinking love will never come
And that one was called Pieces by Roger Dale. And Roger, it's been an absolute blast, man. We'll have to definitely do this again in the future around the time that you drop that EP next year.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. And next year, for sure, invite me back. I'll definitely come.
Deal. So we before we let you get out of here, we end every podcast the same way. It's called the Final Four. It's probably the 4 toughest questions I'm going to ask you this whole time, just because it makes you think.
Yeah.
Okay. So first one, I feel like these might be the same answer, but the first one, if you could go on tour with anybody alive or dead, who would it be?
Chris Stapleton.
Feel like we probably could have guessed that one. Okay. How about this one? What's the best show you've ever been to?
Show like the whole 360 experience.
Yeah, like the whole thing.
Carrie Underwood show.
Ooh.
Insanely amazing. I mean, entertaining from the beginning to end. It was insane.
Nice. Okay, how about this one? What are your 3 most recently played artists on Spotify?
Chris Stapleton, Roger Dale, and Kane Brown.
Okay. And last one, what's your favorite on-stage memory?
My favorite on-stage memory was I played in Fiddler on the Roof, and I played Tevye, so I was a 58-year-old Jewish guy of 4 kids.
Nice. I like it. I like it, man. Well, thank you, buddy, for jumping on here. It's been an absolute blast, man.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll do this again in the future. That was another episode of the Tea Party Podcast. It's a country music podcast where you find new friends and new music like Roger Dale and Pete.